Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're going to be talking about my favorite powder skis. These are the best powder skis you can buy going into 2025. These are my favorite powder skis. Obviously, a couple of these skis, my choices are going to be affected by where I live, which is Boise, Idaho. I ski at Bogus Basin. I also will travel to McCall, Idaho, and occasionally Sun Valley up in Ketchum. But primarily, I ski at Bogus Basin. We have had, the last 2 years, some amazing spring storms where we're talking like 11 inches overnight and we'll have fresh powder. I ski midweek because I have a child with a disability, so I get midweek where it's not very crowded versus weekends, which is different. So just so you guys kind of know what I'm working with. Also, full disclosure, I am not sponsored by any of these brands. They do send me skis and I review them, but I don't take any money. Keeping the ski basically covers the cost of production for me. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about my favorite skis. Let's cover honorable mentions and then we'll jump into my favorite skis that you can buy. Honorable mentions are the Black Crow's Atris. That ski is super sendy, super fun. It's not like a mega wide ski, but it really does well with flotation. I feel like just like the design and the wood core makes it so that if you are willing to like let those skis take off down the hill and give you speed, you can take that speed, float across lines, do really fun stuff. I found that the more that I skied on them, the better I got, the more aggressive lines I was kind of taking off trail. I think they're phenomenal skis. I would absolutely recommend that you check out the Black Crow's Atris and try it, especially if you like the Salomon QST series. If you like the way that you kind of sit on the tails and surf out your turns, I think the Black Crow's Atris is that same kind of style of skiing off trail. It rewards the similar mechanics. Really, I feel like the Black Crow's Atris is a more advanced version of the QST 106. Just a little different. You have to balance where you sit on it more. But all in all, if you're a good skier and you like skiing off trail and you're willing to take a pretty aggressive line off trail, I think the Black Crow's Atris is tremendous. The trade-off is with the Atris, you have to work a little bit harder to find its kind of sweet spot in the balance. But once you do that, if you're like a good, competent off-trail skier, I think you'll really like the Atris. I feel like it's probably the most aggressive off-trail ski that I skied. I will say the barrier to entry is a little bit higher than some of the other skis in this category, but all in all, the performance and everything speaks for itself. I'll have video playing of Zach skiing it. I think he really showcases just how well this ski can perform when it's put through its paces. So yeah, honorable mention, Black Crow Atris. Again, I do feel like its flotation isn't as great, and you know, going off trail, it needs a little bit more room to breathe. It's not top of the top, but it deserves an honorable mention because it's a very good off-trail ski, and if you're a good off-trail skier, I really think you'll enjoy it. The other honorable mention I'll say is probably the Black Crow's Draco Freebird. I feel like the only reason this one doesn't quite make the list is just sacrifices they made so it can be a backcountry ski, right? So they cut a lot of weight out so that you could put skins on it and go up the trail. Really though, I love the smooth flex of the ski. I love the way that it's like so lightweight, so if you get into moguls or off trail in the trees, it's so easy to lift the skis up and kind of hit those lines. I like the Draco Freebird a lot. I think that especially for its width, 110, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a narrower ski just in how responsive it is. So it gets my honorable mention, but with it being a lighter ski, it can't carry its momentum as well as some of these other skis. Its surfiness, kind of at the end of the turn, can feel a little bit more square than some of the other skis. But all in all, it's a really fantastic ski and very amazing in how the material has a just smooth, gradual flex. Like whatever they use to make that ski just feel super consistent all the way through the turn, how light it feels, how effortless it feels compared to other skis that I've skied on. I really like the Draco Freebird, and I would highly, highly recommend if you're looking for a backcountry touring ski. I can't think of a better option. Maybe the Backland if you have a specific ski style, but I don't know. I like the Draco Freebird a ton. The other honorable mention I will give is the Rossignol Sender 110 Free. I like this ski actually just skiing around the mountain more than the Rossignol Sender 104 Ti. I just felt like the 110 Free has more gradual turning. The 104 felt kind of pingy and heavy. Not heavy in like weight so much, but pingy in that like you hit something and it reverberates a lot. It's very loud on your feet, but the 110 Free, very smooth, very gradual turns. Even if you're on like just groomed runs, you can kind of open it up. It feels good. Going on the cat track to get to the powder feels good. Going off trail in the big mountain area where we have competitions, that felt awesome. I took that out there and just like kind of opened things up, did some quick turns. It's not the most diverse ski. It really likes those big open areas. Whereas if you took it into the trees, it can struggle a little bit more. I'll also say the flotation in certain parts of the snow, like if the snow just gets a little bit heavier, you have to kind of fight to keep the tips up more than some of these other skis. But I was blown away. Rossignol Sender 110 Free was probably one of the best Rossignol skis I skied all year. If not the best. Actually, I think pretty safely it was the best. So if you're looking for a powder ski and you really are doing big open lines, I like the Rossignol Sender 110. I think that it feels very different than a lot of the other Rossignol skis that I've skied on. Very different from the Black Ops Sender, very different from the Sender 104. If you get a chance, test out the Sender 110. It's a really fun ski. But it just has a couple of things kind of holding it back from being an easy recommendation like these other two top skis. All right, so let's just jump into it. Now, I'm gonna talk about my favorite powder skis that you can buy right now. There's gonna be two of them, and then I'm going to have an indie brand at the end. I think that these two are pretty much tied, but there is a winner. So my runner-up would be the Salomon QST 106. This is a ski I own personally. This is a ski that I was blown away with. I gave it a perfect score. I think if I'm looking back on it now, I would probably give it more like a 9.8, just being fair. I think now that I've got a better perspective on all the other powder skis out there and where it sits, I mean, it's still just top of the line. I was so happy owning them. The feeling that I would compare this to is if you've ever snowboarded, snowboarding in powder is really fun. There's no other feeling like it, and I think a lot of ski brands have tried to emulate that fun. I think Salomon QST 106 nails it on the head. It is the closest I've ever felt to a really smooth powder snowboard turn. I've tried the QST Blank, the QST 98, the QST 92. They're all really good at certain things. I will say I prefer the QST 106 over the QST Blank. Maybe it's the amount of snowfall we get, right? That does play a factor. But the QST 106 maintains its smooth turn. It allows you to feel comfortable even when you're on edge, just going on the groomers trying to get to the powder. But the turn itself, the turn in the powder, kind of sitting back and letting it swoop around, is the best feeling turn out of the QST line and out of pretty much any other ski out there. Maybe it is a 10, I don't know. I'm splitting hairs at this point. It is the most satisfying big open powder turn. It might still be, you could even argue it's tied with the number one, but I love my QST 106. I think it's so rewarding. I think if you can give them just a little bit of speed and open up the turn, they are so fun. I'm just absolutely blown away by the QST 106. I loved skiing on it. It feels like surfing on a ski. It manages to not feel cumbersome. The one thing I didn't really like about the QST Blank, after about 4 or 5 hours, it started to hurt my hips actually, just because it takes so much effort if you go into the woods when you need quicker turns. It takes a lot more work to get it up edge to edge. It can feel bulky and cumbersome. The QST 106, I never felt like that. I felt like I could ski on it 6, 7, 8 hours and not get really fatigued by it. I think it's a better blend of surfy turns and feeling the shape of the ski, whereas the QST Blank just kind of feels like a blank page. It's a big wide platform and you don't get that kind of QST shape and character to it like you do with the 106. So would 100% recommend the QST 106, especially if you can find them on sale sometimes. I think they're a great value. You look at price to performance, it's way punching above its weight. I absolutely love the QST 106. I personally bought a pair with my own money and love them. So that's why they are runner-up for top powder ski out there. Okay, and now my number one ski for powder ski, honestly, it's probably a tie with the QST 106, but But for where I ski, I like it a little bit more, and that is the Atomic Bent 110. Now, famously, I critiqued the Atomic Bent 100, saying it was too noodly. And honestly, I think the people at Atomic probably agreed with me because they fixed it for 2025. So I went into the review being very skeptical. I am not a big Atomic fanboy, even though there's a lot of really good Atomic skis, and I was floored. The Atomic Bent 110 carves well going onto the cat tracks just to get to the trail. It skis so smoothly in off trail. It turns quickly when you're in the kind of the brush and the bramble. It is so smooth with that Horizon Tech and the 110 underfoot. In my opinion, if I was just recommending a powder ski where I ski personally, I would recommend the Bent 110, and here's why. Here's why it edges out the QST 106. I like my QST 106s a lot. On a big deep day, I think the QST 106 actually outperforms the Bent 110, but not every powder day is perfect. A lot of the best snow that I find on the mountain is hidden, where you have to really traverse across, kind of go through some trees, go through some bramble, and in those areas where you have to kind of do little hop turns, go through the bramble to get to things, the Bent 110 outperforms the QST 106. It makes quick turns so much easier. It is effortless in making little hop turns and then getting to the big open powder. And when you do get to the powder, it's rewarding. I think the Bent 110 is just a phenomenally designed ski. Now, if you're just skiing like the ideal Instagram, oh my God, perfect, untouched puffs of powder and nothing in your way, sure, the QST 106 probably does perform better. That big open snowboard surfy turn is so fun. But the reality is, a lot of the best powder I find is by really working to get there, by really jumping through the trees and making lines that other people aren't willing to take. And in that area, the Bent 110 does better, and when you get to the powder, it is just as fun and just as rewarding as the QST 106, while being fun on the way there and while giving you the line to set up a beautiful line uphill. You know what I mean? You're able to get through these challenging obstacles with ease on the Bent 110 and then set yourself up with a beautiful open powder run when you get there. I think it just blends the things that you really need out of a powder ski, and what I'm finding with skiing getting really popular over COVID, that in order to find that powder, the Bent 110 just hits a home run. So that's why, for me, going into 2025, the Bent 110 is my powder ski of the year. Now that we've talked about the big name brands, let's talk about some of the smaller indie ski makers. My ski of the year for indie makers for powder skis is the Peak 104 by Bode Miller. That ski was tremendous. I went into my review being very skeptical, and initially when I tried it at factory recommended mounted, I found that the tails kind of dragged. I found that my turns were kind of unsatisfying. I didn't like it. Then I took Bode Miller's suggestion. I tried it at different mount points. The ones where he said going forward didn't quite work, but going 2 clicks back, and I did everything. I tried 3 forward, 3 back, whatever felt safe. 2 clicks back was phenomenal. It was so good, and the keyhole technology that they're talking about, I don't know if they always describe it the best, but the keyhole technology, the way I felt it, is that when you need the quick little turns, kind of like I talked with the Bent 110, it does a phenomenal job there. It allows you to kind of pivot and get where you need to go, but when you are mounted back a little bit, the ease that you can kind of cruise through the powder, get through those puffs of snow, set nice, open, smooth lines, it's phenomenal. And it carves better being mounted back because you have more tip, more ski in the front to flex. And if you do that, it's very gradual, very smooth. I think the Peak 104 is a phenomenal ski. Now, it can be a little bit on the heavier side. I wish that they would maybe take a little bit of time and at least assess the mounting point, but for me, personally, when I got it mounted 2 clicks back, this ski was unreal. It carved well and did powder well in a way I have not seen another ski maker do. Now, there are some clear drawbacks, but the overall performance, and just being honest with you guys, I like the Peak 104. It is my top powder ski from an independent small ski maker. As always, I will put links down below for you to buy all these skis. We do get a small percentage depending on the ski, so please use that if you found this helpful. It does help support us and helps us make more videos like this for you. As always though, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch my video. We have memberships down below. We have, if you want to just like and subscribe, that's a free way to support us. But as always, just thank you for supporting us with your time. That's really what means a ton to me. I hope you enjoyed this content. Thanks for being here. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.